Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz, and this is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news, as well as a preview of their upcoming game matchups. So, this week, the Texans will be returning home to host the San Francisco 49ers in a game that's seeing both teams kind of dealing with injuries at different parts of the football right now. So, I get into all that on what the Texans can do for this upcoming game. But first, let me recap. Monday night's loss to the Seattle Seahawks. So, a couple things. Um, this was a game where kind of uncharacteristic of the defense. Nothing really special about the offense. To elaborate, the defense gave up the most points they have all year. They gave up 27 points, and that's kind of shocking considering that this team is that the Texans defense leads the league in defensive scoring or whatever. They give up the least points. And every week they remind us that they give up the least points and still have this record. But yeah, the point of the match, point is like them giving up that many points. It kind of overshadowed the turnovers that was in this game. Like Texas generated four turnovers, two interceptions, two fumbles. One of them being a fumble recovery uh, by Will Anderson for a touchdown. I believe it was in the third quarter uh, when that happened. So um, just a valiant effort. You know what I'm saying? But it was just kind of balanced out in a negative way by the points given up. As far as the offense goes, there was nothing special about the offense or their performance at all. Uh, One thing that did stand out was tight end Dalton Schultz had 9 catches for like 98 yards. You know what I'm saying? A season high. And so everybody else was pretty much kind of just everybody else is just pretty much really quiet. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Noel, he had 4 catches, 77 yards. Nico had 4 catches, but for 27 yards. You know what I'm saying? So nothing really special, nothing that stood out other than Schultz's numbers. And then on top of that, CJ Stroud got sacked 3 times. So the offensive line was being the offensive line once again in this game. So um, definitely an uninspiring performance on that end. Um, One thing that kind of came out about this game, like way after this game, probably like a couple days ago, there was a story. There seemed to be a controversy, small little controversy around the defensive game plan going into this game. So there was a clip I saw of Derek Stingley talking about, you know, well, in the clip they asked Stingley why didn't the Texans press Jackson Seahawks wide receiver Jackson Smith and Jigba, who had a huge game himself. Um, and Stingley was like, I just called what was played, or I just played what was called. Apparently, the game plan was don't press him. So I guess D'Amico responded that the game plan was to press him. So definitely, probably just a little small hiccup. First time we've heard any type of hiccup within the defensive unit, within the defensive side of the football from this team. So I think it's just something to kind of watch as the season progresses and things kind of get a little down. Things kind of get a little down for the team as far as like losses and everything, and just keep an eye on if anything gets dicey. So, really, just to wrap up this entire game review or game recap, the the excuse me, um, it was a chance for the team to reset after the bye week, but instead they did a reset the wrong way. They they did a hard reset, and so it was like it kind of just wiped out everything that they seemed to know about football. Like it was just bad. It was like they just weren't prepared, to come back out of the bye week. And mind you, I'll say this: it probably doesn't mean much, but the last game they played, it was – 12 o'clock noon game. You know what I'm saying? Then they're coming out and they're playing like a 9 o'clock, probably 7 o'clock over in Seattle or whatever. But it's still a late, you know what I'm saying, kind of a late game. Um, so it's like maybe kind of threw off their rhythm a little bit, and that's the only thing I'll shoot them. But other than that, like they just really played flat. And and I said the hard reset, but it also seemed like they reset back to their old ways before the 2 game win streak, heading into the bye week. It was the offense once again um, being lethargic through the first 3 quarters, and then trying to come alive and make something happen in the fourth quarter. The defense, kind of holding things down. I mean, hell, the Nico Autry had blocked the field goal in this game, so the defense still kind of, making leverage and keeping this team within the game. So um, the only worst part was that the defense looked like they took a step back as well. So I mean, I don't know what to tell you about that other than they really got to get it together on this upcoming game, especially with the stuff they're dealing with now. Not getting all that in just a few, but um, yeah, that's basically what I felt happened. They had a chance to reset, what I'm saying, and refresh in that manner, but instead they just took a hard reset and it just kind of wiped everything away, including their effort. So do better next time. So moving on, injuries, big news. Nico Collins and Christian Kirk ruled out for this game, so that's the top 2 wide receivers for CJ Stroud. He's likely going to have to rely on Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel in this game. Both rookies taking the second and third round back to back. So it's gonna be pretty interesting. It seems like that the coaching staff is high on these guys. Some of the fans are high on these guys as well. So hopefully they can actually, what I'm saying, come through and deliver in a surprising. Hopefully they can come through and shock the world and just deliver in a big way for this team. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into the game preview. So Texans will be playing the San Francisco 49ers. They will be hosting them. Um, and it's an interesting matchup, not the least. So with San Francisco, and the reason it's interesting for this particular week, San Francisco's dealing with injuries, and Texans are dealing with injuries as well. I just mentioned Texans are dealing with the Nico Collins and Christian Kirk injuries for this week. Nico Collins out with a Nico Collins out with a concussion. San Francisco been dealing with injuries pretty much the entire year. Brock Purdy, their starting quarterback, he's been hurt. They lost Fred Warner to a season-ending injury a week and a half ago. So he's obviously not gonna be there. Um, I'm trying to think. I don't think Christian McCaffrey was hurt. He might have been, but he's been like shown up on the injury report as well. But he's back in the mix, and so it's really been it's really been a tough time for the Niners, and they still managed to reach like reach like 5-2, make it to near the top of the NFC right now. And yeah, in addition to that, they have their wide receiver Ricky Pearsall. Um, he's hurt uh, and coming into this game, so they're going to be down a wide receiver, but that doesn't mean they're going to be without weapons. They have Christian McCaffrey. Um, I do, 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 do. Yeah, Brandon Ayuk. He's you forget that he's like hurt as well. Um, so yeah, they're not like I said, they're not down and out without weapons. Um, Mac Jones, he's been doing phenomenal. I think he only has one loss since he stepped into the starting role to take over for Brock Purdy, and you know Christian McCaffrey, he's still putting up tremendous numbers. You know what I'm saying? So, and like I said, they're 5-2. right now in one of the not just in the NFC, not just in the NFC, but they're 5-2 in the NFC West. One of the toughest, probably the toughest division in all of football right now. So we have the pleasure of hosting them this week. So the Texans, they can try to sneak a win if they want to, and it's just a few things that they're gonna have to do if they want to actually try to snag a win this week from the 49ers. So first thing they're gonna have to do is stop Christian McCaffrey. I know you saw that coming. It's okay. Uh, McCaffrey, he's the league leader in rushing attempts right now. He's also a threat to their to, and he's also a threat not only to the rushing game or their rushing attack, uh, but he's also a threat for their receiving attack. Like I said, they've been dealing with injuries with their wide receiver room pretty much all year. I think Ayuk's been hurt all year. Um, Pearsall, I think he's been off and on with injuries. They got Kendrick Bourne, who Mac Jones has a relationship with from his New England days. So that's what's been kind of holding them afloat as far as like passing yards. But I'll get into all that later. But right now, Christian McCaffrey is also been a he's also the team's like leading receiver right now. So definitely he provides he is a viable dual threat, if you will, at that running back position in both rushing and receiving. So it's going to be very important to kind of contain him and make sure he doesn't, go off and just in either one of those categories. Trying to, X him out of the game. If try to X him or take him out of the game plan, if you will, and kind of force this team to really just rely on others. To beat this Texans team, and especially going up against this Texans defense, which is like one of the top defenses in the league. Just really make this San Francisco 49ers work for it without their star offensive weapon. Number two, communication on defense has to be better. Now, I didn't want to make this a note, but I figure like this is something that you know that even though it kind of was popped up, during this week, I feel like it's something that has to be said and it has to be addressed. Because this is a 49ers offense that is, that's still chugging along. You know what I'm saying? I think I didn't check that report, but I didn't see Brian Robinson on there. So they should that rushing attack should be quite it will be looking to be effective. I'll say that. With it will be looking to be effective. With what's his name? Excuse me. With Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson. So that's gonna propel Mac Jones, who leads the league in passing yards per game right now. Uh, which is crazy because he's only been there for a handful of starts, but he's really doing this thing right now. This is and with Mac Jones, he's not a backup. He's not your typical backup. Like he's not the backup that Cooper Rush was when the Texans faced the Ravens. This is a legit former first round quarterback that used to be a starter in this league. And it wasn't that long ago. It was just a few years ago. You know what I'm saying? And he led this team to the playoffs. He led, not this team, but he led the Patriots, the team that drafted him, to the playoffs in his rookie year. You know what I'm saying? And, in subsequent years, things just didn't pan out and they went in another direction. And, you know what I'm saying? That's understood and all, but, he still has that experience. He still has that starting experience. Hell, he started last season when he went to Jacksonville, and he started in place of Trevor Lawrence. And so this is a guy that's not rusty by any means. He's been playing great this year. You know what I'm saying? Won quite a few close games, if you will. So, like, Mac Jones he's exceeding a lot of expectations of a backup quarterback. And, that's because he's probably had more traction in his career than a typical backup quarterback right now. So, it's definitely going to be it's definitely going to be imperative, very important, that this defense gets that communication as far as like being on the same page, knowing the game plan, everybody's in one accord, um, and getting, you know what I'm saying, getting that all connected and together because um, with Mac Jones at the helm, it probably sounds crazy to say that, but with Mac Jones at the helm, Kyle Shanahan's probably gonna try to throw everything that they can at this defense just to try to crack them and try to get an early jump on them. Because in previous games you've seen that if you get a jump on this Texans defense, it's gonna be tough for this offense to play catch up, considering all the issues that we have on offense. So it's best that we kind of shut this San Francisco 49ers offense down early, and that's going to start with communicating and getting on the same page. Um, Third and final thing, number three, pass protection is going to be key. So the Niners, they aren't that great at getting quarterback sacks or pressure on the QB, quarterback hits, knockdowns, all that stuff. They're in the bottom half of a lot of those categories, and so I feel like this is a game where our pass protection has to be great. We have to exceed the expectations of that. You know what I'm saying? Because on the other side of that football, Salah, I hope I got it right. Robert Salah, the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, he's a solid defensive coordinator, former head coach of the Jets, uh, but a very solid defensive coordinator, one of the greater defensive coordinators, if you will. And so I think this might be actually his second stint as a D coordinator with the 49ers. So um, he's going to try to find a way to get pressure on this over this Texans O line that has pretty much struggled like all year. So it's going to be up to this Texans O line. Hell, it's going to be up to the Texans offense to like step up the pass protection for CJ Stroud. Um, the running backs, they're going to have to, do pass blocking a little bit better. In previous games, we've seen, the running backs blow some pretty big blocks, and it's led to some pretty big negative plays. So it's going to be very, very important that the pass protection is just top notch from the O linemen, and from the running backs. Tight ends too, but I consider them O linemen, but whatever. Uh, so yeah, it's just gonna have to really be key in this game. In addition to that, CJ Stroud is going to need all the time he can get. He's working with new receivers in this game, so to speak. Jaden Daniels, Jalen Noel, these two rookies, they're stepping into the starting roles for Nico Collins and Christian Kirk. So it's going to be imperative that, CJ has the right amount of time to deliver the ball to these guys, especially considering that they're very new. Defenses are going to try to, probably had away with them a little bit. And, what I'm saying, it's gonna take a lot of patience. So I would definitely expect Dalton Schultz to be worked back into this game plan a little bit more. See if they can get him the ball a little bit more and kind of, really take a lot of the attention off of these rookie receivers. So definitely, please pass protection. Do your thing. Do your thing this week. So, just going back over these particular items. So, number one, stop Christian McCaffrey. Slow that offense down. He's a league leader in rushing attempts. He's also a team. He's also the team's leading receiver. So, you shut him down, you might be able to stop half of their offense. Communication on defense has to be better. That little hiccup from last week, make sure everybody is on the same page just to stop whatever this San Francisco 49ers offense has ready to throw at us. Um, Third and final thing, number three, pass protection. It has to be key. It has to be top notch in this game. The 49ers do not get that much pressure or get that much sacks. So it's going to be very imperative that the O line and the running backs they take advantage of that in the pass protection. Some pass protection just must be schemed up to give CJ Stroud some time just to work in with these new rookie receivers that's stepping in. for our injured vets. So that's all I got for y'all this week. If you're watching this on Facebook, facebook.com/BrandonBlog, like my page, like this video, share this video on your feed. If you're liking this, if you're watching this on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to my channel, share this video wherever you may. So, with that being said, I'm Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. Holla black.